This is Tristan again, and if the math is correct, which I hope it is episode 105 of Control Breakers.
Damn, we've made it that far. So I've been missing for what, 6-7 episodes?
Yes, and as you guys can see here, that it is not Mitch today. It is Armin that's back from his Make-A-Wish projects.
Yeah. If people have been keeping up, it's been a hell of a couple of weeks. I know on social media I post all the pictures and stuff. I only have one more Comic-Con this weekend, and then I'm free till March. So schedule should fix itself by then, hopefully.
Yep. And as always, you can catch me on Twitter at Control Breakers, and you can catch Armin at Arminis, I think, if that's correct.
Yep, that's where you can find me. That's also my handle on every single online system, so you can find me on
whether
those.
Whether or not you get an acknowledgement is another thing, though.
Yo, yeah, that's almost dude, I go to my PlayStation like messages like once every month, and there's like 80 messages. I'm like, all right, one by one. Yeah. Thank you. Sweet. Yeah, if you see me, jump in. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I get those too occasionally, random. Like, I know you fans will want to play and stuff, but sometimes I'm usually not. I don't usually check my stuff on time, whether it be Steam or PSN or even I think Nintendo ID. I don't usually update my stuff all the time, so.
See, the problem with me is I play single player mainly. I don't do the whole multiplayer thing. So if I'm ever playing multiplayer, it's real rare.
No. I do multiplayer too, but it's relatively not when people realistically would play multiplayer. So for me, it'd either be probably early morning or late at night when people are probably getting off.
Yeah.
But, like always, you can support us on Patreon. It's Patreon.com/comicbookcast for everything you need on comics and pop culture. We have through just $1 a month. If that's all you can support, thank you for doing that. And for that $1, you'll be in the screen that's supposed to come up right now for all of the people that have donated throughout the month to keep this thing running. And we also have exclusives, like our exclusive commentaries that are only on Patreon if you're a Patreon supporter. Recently we've done Spider-Man Homecoming, so check that one out among others. Soonish we will get to another one that we're supposed to be doing this month. And it's really good. It's probably wonderful, as you could say. I had to put that in there.
Yep.
But yeah, there's other tiers ranging from $1 to $25 is the current max right now. If you have any suggestions and you're a Patreon, so put it through there. And if we can, we may make a video on it, or we may make it a topic. On one of the podcasts that we do. So
now I'm kind of confused right now because what about the Spider-Man?
Spider-Man is technically from now on, most of our commentaries will be exclusive to Patreon. So you have to become a patron to watch the movie with us. But fortunately, we will be giving out 10-15 minute snippets of the actual commentary to see if it's worth your money and our time. And so far, that's how it's supposed to be going. So if you have any more questions, you can either post it down in the comments, or just if you're on the Facebook group, you can do that too, and we'll get you settled and sorted if you still have any questions about becoming a Patreon.
Sounds about right.
Now,
so
with all that, we have our first topic of the day, which is I got 4 days. We have our first topic of the day, which is I got the game and I beat it. It was Nintendo announced that Super Mario Odyssey is the fastest selling Mario game in the US currently, which has sold over 2 million copies within like the first 4 days.
Holy hell.
Yes, and currently, to put that in perspective, I think Nintendo has put out that currently it's about their Switch ratio in the US is at about probably 2.6 million to about 3 million Switches sold in the US and are currently in customers' hands. So that's almost a 100% rate of attachment to the Switch, but it wouldn't be so much a surprise as it's Mario, and most people know who Mario is and wouldn't want to play a Mario game.
Yeah.
Most people know who Mario is and wouldn't want to play a Mario game. Now, depending on whether it's good or not, that's another story. But so far, from the Metacritic scores, this is getting the Breath of the Wild treatment, where it's getting near perfect or perfect scores across the board.
Honestly, I think it's quite amazing. Like, I got it. I'm only on the third world because I'm taking my slow time, and I'm only going to play it on trips just like I played Zelda.
Yeah.
But I think it's totally worthy of all those accolades.
Yeah, it is. For me, for being an avid gamer, this is, you could beat it I took some breaks and stuff, but you could realistically beat it in about 10 hours if you're just going through the motions and getting everything. There's a lot of other cameos and secret Easter eggs and other things you can play during your adventure through Mario Odyssey. It's your typical Mario game. It's not that much on story. It's just about game. From the time that I played it to the time I beat it, I had so much fun because it was probably the most Super Mario 64-esque game that I've loved so far.
That's good.
And they also showed there's costumes and stuff that reference everything that's Mario has been over the decades. So you can get his original Super Mario Brothers outfit, which is the red shirt with the red overalls, I think.
Ooh, the overalls, yes.
Yeah, and then you have another one, which is you can go take it back to Super Mario 64 and get his polygonal self in a suit, which they actually put that in there. So when you put the suit together, they have the actual model of Super Mario 64 in Super Mario Odyssey.
That's really cool because this one definitely feels most like the Super Mario 64 because they had Galaxy and all that and
story mission. That's what most people said. It's more like Super Mario 64 than for most people. It's like you have Super Mario Galaxy and then there's Odyssey. It's interchangeable because you have that sense of exploration and fun because you can do what you want. You don't really have to do the main story mission. You can go off on your own and do whatever you want for about 20-30 minutes before coming back to the story.
Grand Theft Mario. I like it.
Yeah. And that's what most people do. But another thing that I want to say about the scores is that it is tied for Breath of the Wild for near perfect scores this year so far, with 43 perfect scores with an average of 97.
Damn.
Yeah, that's something that just shows you how much a good game can propel your system as a system seller if you're getting accolades that it deserves. And for much shit that I even put Mario through by not really having a story, it's more about the gameplay. I do commend it on the gameplay because it feels like it he should, he feels like how Mario should. There's no it doesn't feel slow. It doesn't feel overly fast. You can control him wherever you want. And it's not like how where if you have you're in the third person and a character doesn't feel like he should, or they should feel, and they feel the controls are off. So most of the diehards that people like to do technical tricks can't do it so much as because the character that they're used to doesn't work how in the past entries into their series.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool. I commend Nintendo. They have this bar for they go for their other IPs. They could use this treatment because what usually happens is that if they don't, I'm not saying they need to get perfect 100s or anything. Is that they usually get a lukewarm to an okay acceptance, and then if the Nintendo doesn't deem that it was successful, back into the box they go for another 10 to 15 years because they're not going to touch that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad their sales are through the roof. But I mean, a part of those sales, realistically, is, of course, people just waiting for the next big thing. But it's once again, it's a Nintendo console. It can't just survive on the Mario titles. And they're doing a good job of getting some third parties on there, Doom and stuff. So I'm excited. But yeah, no, this game is It's awesome. It's completely awesome.
Okay. Yeah, from like yeah, just it's complete. It is from Nintendo to Microsoft on the eve, since we're doing it now. Right now, the Xbox One X has just launched, and I've been seeing on my Twitter feed, among Facebook feeds, that everyone is apparently loving their X. Though one guy kind of got overly friendly with one, because he actually like had it in the front passenger seat, like in a seat belt, taking it home. like literally, he had it in the front seat with its seatbelt strapped, saying, "I'm taking this baby home."
That's funny.
But to the article is that Phil Spencer has stated that pretty soon they may dabble in what Sony is doing right now with the streaming service. Because currently, right now with the streaming service that they have, I think it's Gamer Pass, and with Gamer Pass, it's you have a month. I think it's either monthly or yearly fee, and they have like over 100 games that you can play at your leisure.
Yep.
And that's what that's what somewhat Sony has, but it's a little bit differently. But with what Phil Spencer's saying is that Microsoft will probably be debuting a streaming service that doesn't require a console for some type of content in the next 3 years. So it's gonna be like a streaming box.
So okay, so it's gonna be like like the Steambox style, but like
it's basically like how Sony did I think was it the PlayStation TV, where you had like you could start streaming stuff, where you had like you could start streaming stuff that didn't necessarily need the Xbox or PC, and whatever you had that could be compatible with that that app or that program, you can do it from wherever. And that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to realize what they've put down, whereas play anywhere. You know how like earlier where Microsoft and Xbox put that, where if you bought something on an Xbox platform, you get the PC version for free, and vice versa. So you could basically play it anywhere. Well, now they're trying to take it to the next level, where if it is compatible with it, you could probably play a PC game from your TV if it was compatible, or Xbox game from the TV, as long as it's compatible, and not necessarily need the actual console itself.
I mean, it's like forward thinking and thinking about the future. So, it is what it is, but I don't know how this will work, because I feel like Microsoft, we recently saw with the death of the Kinect, they're ambitious as hell, and but sometimes you just have to kind of weigh your options. I mean, do you know anybody that uses PlayStation, whatever the hell?
PlayStation Now?
Yeah, because I
currently, not much, because of how they factor in pricing, because it's relatively expensive to do the PlayStation Now for even a month or 3 months, and even then you have to have a stable minimum of 5 megabytes per second to actually use the service. Because if you don't, with reports stating that there is some terrible lag, and control lag too. I guess at least for the US infrastructure for ISPs and internet access is really not up to the task right now, and it probably won't be for the next, depending on what advances we have, wouldn't be there probably for the next 10 to 25 years if it's still stagnant like this. So I don't really think that this is a viable option unless they can come up with something that would make it a lot easier for people who can't get, what I get here is either 50 up, 50 down, or 100 up, 100 down within a reasonable cost.
Yeah, to me, I don't see this. I mean, I don't know anybody that's going to be like, I'm gonna ditch my next console to get this streaming service. It's like, no, no hardcore core gamer that's self-respecting is gonna do that. Like, who's gonna be the guy that's like, yeah, I love playing Overwatch, but imagine if, unless you could come up with a really good pitch, but I'm not gonna.
I mean, so I'll probably add it in this. Probably not the Mitchell hate me later, but it's like how right now, where GameStop, if no one has heard what GameStop is doing right now, is that now they're trying to get in on what Xbox is doing with their Gamer Pass. Is that for $60 for 6 months, you can quote unquote rent any used game in any store for those 6 months. You can use it for however long you want, and take it back and get another game that's used. So you can keep doing that for 6 months, and after the 6 months has ended, you have the option to keep one of the ones that you quote unquote rented. And that's what people are seeing the correlations because even now GameStop, as they're hurting, they're trying to find another way to survive, because however you like or hate GameStop, they have to make a profit. It's not like, they like to I guess they like to give you crap about, oh, this game is a month old, but we have to make a profit. We can't give you the 55 that we have at market value price. That's how most stores go under. If they have to make a little wiggle room. That's why most, if you can catch them, they'll say like $30 to $35 is what they can give you for a month. And that's what I liked about, I potentially liked with this $60. I thought it was a year, but it's 6 months for $60. So basically $10 for 6 months to rent as many games as you want, and you'll be able to keep one after the trial, and you'll be able to keep one after the trial service is over.
It's not too bad, honestly.
Yeah. Because
I could see a lot of younger people, college students. That's a great advantage,
Well, it is, because basically that's it's like 24 weeks. You can, if you can play a game a week, and that's 24 games you could not realistically play and buy on your own that you get to try. And the ones that you really want, you can make a list and buy them probably like on Black Friday or during the holidays, and just keep the one that you really want, or keep replaying over and over again.
And also, it brings to that good advantage, like, let's say the new Call of Duty comes out, right?
Yeah.
And the college kids, they's returning this game, someone just trades that in, and they're like, oh, you guys just got that, yeah? All right, here, I'm returning this. So let me pick up that new Call of Duty. Goes, plays it for 3 months, and he's like, oh, well, I guess I'll go get the new Battlefield when someone trades that in. Like, it's a smart system. I think GameStop's going to make...
And like, for people who are like, oh, what do you mean? Yes, there are people who will basically play the game on release date, or get it, at midnight or 9 p.m. or however long they get it, beat it in one day, and then we'll trade it in for maximum profit. So
dude, I've seen that happen days after. Like, you go in, there's been times where a game comes out on Tuesday, right? And I can't go to the store to pick it up till like Saturday, just because I'm like, oh, I'm busy, I'm doing work. I show up there like, oh, would you like the used copy instead? I'm like, but who already traded in Fallout 4? Like,
yeah,
but it happened.
It does. Like, one of the most infamous ones I remember doing is, I think it was during, let me see, I think it was Resident Evil. I think it was Operation Raccoon City. I think that was the game. And I came either 1 or 2 days after it launched to go pick up some other game, and to my surprise, there's like this giant, like 60 or 70 copies. And I asked the dude, I was like, wait, didn't that thing just come out on Tuesday? And he goes, yeah, it did. Like, literally, people actually played the game. They probably knew it was bad, played the game just for the credit. And I was sad to say that GameStop got a massive dump of copies that people didn't even want anymore. And like, it's just like the employee was mad because they knew they were never going to sell these things.
Yeah.
And they probably would have to sell them, port them off to another store, because this was just too much for them to even have at one store.
Sounds about right. Sounds reasonable.
And from one service to another service, Sony has another way for people to get more points with their award system, like how they did with their credit card, where if you another way for people to get more points with their award system, like how they did with their credit card, where if you applied for one of their credit cards, you could get points to earn for either for coupons for like new games or subscription services and the like. Now what Sony's doing is that for people who don't do that but game a lot, you can earn points depending on how many trophies you get on your PSN account. Now it's really interesting, because here what they have is, like, in the terms, earning 100 silver trophies will net you 100 points. 25 gold trophies will net you 250 points. But if you have 10 platinum trophies, you'll be rewarded with 1,000 points.
Damn.
But this right now, it's only optioned out in the U.S. market, and you can get a whole bunch of stuff from discounts, like the $10 voucher for the PlayStation Network, which is just sitting at 1,000 points currently. So if you played a lot of games, you can get like a lot of $10 vouchers. I just looked at mine, and I have like over, I think, like 2,900 trophies so far right now. So I probably could have like somewhere, doing a little math, probably have somewhere around like $30 in discount vouchers waiting if I decide to do that.
Yeah.
It's just really cool how they're trying to get people, I guess, either to use their buy the hardware or the software from their PlayStation product to get more invested into more products they have that you can get from their Sony store.
So as you say that, it's like this ecosystem they're making, right?
Yeah.
Now, are you one of the people that gets your PlayStation and on my email that I log into on PlayStation, it has total trophies earned, which I have 5,122. And what's awesome is right next to that, it says total gameplay hours, 4,489. So I'm assuming that's across like PlayStation 3 and PS4, which
Yes.
I love that they keep that in there. So it's like, that keeps you in the ecosystem, but this is like something else that's going to start slowly rewarding you. So I'm assuming it's like they want to keep you in that, you know?
They've been trying that recently, because they I think they did that since like 2009, where they started like giving out like special sweepstakes and special occasions with people who've been with the PlayStation Plus, and they racked up a lot of accolades themselves on their own accounts, and they give out like prizes and stuff like this. Is where this comes in, because if we look back, they've done this before with, I think it was with their they've done this before with, I think it was with their Play commercials that they had, I think like back 2 years ago, which if you had like, you could, instead of buying it with money, if you had the trophies for it, you could buy the props from the actual commercials.
Yeah, there's been actually a couple times where I just check PlayStation and I've gotten like $10. I'm like, oh, sweet, all right.
I got one of them too. I think I got a $10 voucher for a subscription service that I don't even use, because I don't really use subscription service outside of like Netflix on my PlayStation. And they gave me a $10 voucher for one, and then it had like, welcome Jay Chance, you have like 2,800 something trophies, and then you played this month, like I guess like close to, or so far you played over like 1,000 or something hours, and you've amassed this much accolades, and the last game you played was probably like accolades, and the last game you played was probably like Horizon, and you did this and this and this. And then some people tell me, oh, I didn't get that. I got, some of the same stuff from the PlayStation newsletter, but they didn't tell me like my stats or anything. And I'm like, well, we probably had to hit certain milestones and, played a certain amount to get that, because not everyone gets those types of emails. They just get the regular, PlayStation email.
Yep. But yeah, it's a good little service. I'm excited by it.
I mean, because it gives people who, either can't apply for the credit card, but they do game a lot, and they play. Of course, they play a lot of games, and they're a trophy hunter. You get an incentive to keep buying the products that they're selling, because you can then turn your accolades into actual things you may want, via like a voucher card or a year subscription service, or like $20 off or 20% off to 50% off you may want. It's pretty fun. And it's it's good and interesting, especially from the PlayStation store. Gear store, because there's like 2 different stores you can go to. Gear store is for memorabilia and collectibles. The actual store is for hardware and software. Now, another thing that we have here is a game that I don't play, but Joe does, and he put this in here. It's, PlayerUnknown's Battleground is coming to Xbox One first on December 12th.
Okay, so
the reason why I put first is because it's not exclusive. It is a timed exclusive for, I believe, a year.
So here's the thing. I play this game. I play it on PC. Let me preface that. I don't play it on Xbox One. And it's still a very buggy game. It's definitely a development. There's still times where you're like run up to someone and shoot someone and it like doesn't just register properly, or there's massive lag.
It doesn't register, and like you walk away and both of you just get shot up for no reason.
Yep. Like, so that is a problem, but inherently the game is awesome. And on PC, it's made waves. Like, it broke all Steam Play records in a 24-hour period. Like, it's a lot of people are playing this game.
Yeah, a lot of people I've seen, especially on streams where everyone was all.
Now, the thing is, this could be a big game for Microsoft if it was exclusive. I know the year is going to help them, but how much will that actually do in the long run? Because there's a lot of people that want this game, and I think people are going to love it when it comes to Xbox and all that, but I'm a little dubious to see how this goes, just because I'm not fully...
because like I said that, because we could go back to Fortnite, where they unveiled their own Fortnite, where they unveiled their own massive King of the Hill game, and that's for free. And it's
really good. It's really good.
Yeah, and that's what people were saying. If if they can't get Battlegrounds, or if they don't want to wait, they'll just. I've seen in comments they say, "Don't wait, just go and get the Fortnite free game that you can play right now, and get almost the exact same gameplay wise and gameplay wise in a different tone." And that's where people are wondering, then what is PlayerUnknown's Battleground with that with their beef with, I think, what's the company that does was it Fortnite? Because I'm blanking right now. There's the tip of my tongue, and I don't really know. It's I can't think about it. People I can't think about it. People in the comments below will tell me, because I'm blinking right now. But what their scuffle is that they're annoyed because they think that they were using the PlayerUnknown's Battleground as a guinea pig for their own IP, and not helping them as they should as a partner in development.
Yeah, hey, they're gonna use that. They're gonna learn the ecosystem. They'll bring it to PlayStation. We know how PlayStation deals. They like to have a closer to finished version of it. So both systems will get it. It's fun. I'm glad Xbox gamers are gonna have something that PlayStation guys don't.
That was wasn't it supposed originally people were thought it was supposed to be a console exclusive 60 frames, but it's probably not going to be 60 frames, because I don't think that people, or most people, would have an X, and unless they're going to dilute everything that they have in the game.
Listen, I don't understand why the game doesn't run at 60 frames a second, because it looks like a first-gen 360 PS3 game. So,
I mean, because it's that weird thing where the developer, what people don't really understand is that third-party developers don't really like supporting a lot of systems, because they have to be wary of, you know, the what each system can handle, and they have to build around that. That's why when like you see the transition from this generation to last generation with that 1 to 2 year period where where the period where where the current generation's version is still less, just more optimized from the last one, because they don't really want to spread out all of their money for the development cost of each version. So like, you know how people would say like, what is it, like, you don't really see that much difference between that much from like Grand Theft Auto 5 for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions, is because there wasn't really they weren't really spending that much time and development into each different versions. So you see like different fauna, and the textures are different, and the models are actually different and more in depth and detail. They're mostly the same, just some sprucing up on different platforms because of the difference in power and processing speeds. Up on different platforms because of the difference in power and processing speeds.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. That's, I'm excited people are going to play it. That's really it.
I would be excited too. I mean, my PC currently can run the game. It's just that I don't really play those types of games all that much, especially when it's like King of the Hill type games. I don't really play that much, especially the ones where people can fuck you over.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has their own thing, It's what it is. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like I said, I played it just because I wanted to see what all the hype was about, and it was fun. It was fun.
Back and forth with that dog. And yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, maybe I'll get it if it's on Steam with Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's now they announced back. I think it was like close to, I think it was Friday or Saturday. They announced a new trailer where with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you're going to get Team Rocket back, but the new team is not, technically it's Team Rocket is called Rainbow Rocket now as post-game for their Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon third version, and you will get to collect or capture most of the legendary Pokemon that they had so far. There are some version exclusives though. I think it's if I am correct, Ultra Sun will have Ho-Oh, Dialga, Raikou, Groudon, Latios, Xerneas, and some other ones that you can that would be exclusive to that. And if it is, then it'll probably be the same as Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, where like you had to have both versions to get all the legendary Pokemon, because there's some stipulations on how to get them to appear.
Of course.
Yeah, and then Moon, we have Lugia, Entei, then we have Latias, Yveltal, Regigigas, Palkia, and some other ones for the Moon version. So they even it out. So you have to get both versions if you want to actually collect them all, because the trading for the Pokemon is very unfair, because people ask for outrageous trades that you probably couldn't even get if you were just a casual Pokemon player. Because I'll give you an example, like for a shiny Pokemon, they'd probably want a legendary Pokemon you probably couldn't get. Probably want a legendary Pokemon you probably couldn't get unless you actually had two versions of the game. So I don't know. It's like, so I want to get your thoughts on on how this game should stack up, because this is supposed to be the last portable, quote unquote, portable game of the franchise, because after this they're going to the Switch.
Praise the Lords, because honestly, I pre-ordered this, and I pre-ordered a Steelbook on Amazon, so I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just want to move along. I just want to move along to the next ones, man.
Because this is supposed like how all versions of Pokemon they'll have a third special edition, which is optimized more for what they've learned from the last two, and it should work. It should work like they had yellow. What was it? I want to that yellow, emerald, crystal, then emerald, and then they had platinum, and then they stopped at that when they did the remakes, and with this one currently. Can you not cook anything, please?
Yeah,
it can pick it up.
No, it looks good. It looks good, but I don't know if I'm even gonna end up playing it. I might just resell my Steelbook. I don't know. I'm still undecided. I have so many other games I gotta play, man.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I got back into it, and it's really, really good. And what most people want is just that they want a game that they can basically play all through the regions, but it kind of varies because they have to do a lot of things to make everything level out, so you're not going through the floors all the trainers up until the actual Elite Four league, because the leveling system is out of sorts, because you can't really cap everyone at a certain level unless like you restart your team with that region's Pokemon. And hopefully hopefully most people want is a better story, because with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, it's not like a continuation of the original story. It's a quote unquote different version of the story. It's almost the same, but things happen differently in this version. So like everything is not. I guess you could say it's like a different take on the story. And I mean, it's coming out in a couple weeks so far. I mean, I'll probably give you guys my opinion on everything and the like, but we're gonna wait till that. It's a relatively light week. There's not really that much else they can say, unless I want to see if I can find that one thing. It is what I had before all this, if I can. Where was it? It was. We can talk about really quick. We can talk about the patching for Xbox One X games, which the 4K textures are a lot. By 4K textures, I mean the sizes of the games are relatively really big. You can take, I think, you can say Forza 7 with the 4K texturing is about close to 100 gigs. I think with everything from like Gears of War, it's over 100. Quantum Break has an astronomical 178 gigs. So that is just for the TV show part.
Here's the thing: if you bought an Xbox One, which I did, it'll be in tomorrow after we record this. Unless you got the Scorpio edition, which is 1 terabyte, which actually has 750 gigs. If you got the 500 gig, which is the normal, you realistically only have 410 to use. 2.5 games are going to fill up that hard drive if you have 4K textures.
Yeah, and it's what people don't understand is like, well, don't do the textures. I'm like, then why do you have it?
Yeah, why do you have the system?
Yeah, I mean, it's like of course, for people who have 1080 screens and displays, of course you'll get benefits. You'll get benefits too, but what? Why would a development team do it? Why would a development team, have I guess you could say an Xbox One X patch to their, I guess you could say an Xbox One X patch to their game when it costs extra time and extra money, if not a lot of people are going to profit off of that. Because like you said, if 1080 at 60 frames is cool, but they're not making the patch just for that. They're making it for 4K textures at 60 frames per second, or at a solid 30 frames per second, and it takes a lot of extra time and money to actually make those assets and to actually condense them into a realistic file size.
Yep.
And it's not that very economical, especially for people who have data caps. Because I know I was talking just about Mitch, and Mitch is like, all you Americans are uncivilized. I'm like, me personally, I don't have data caps.
I'm gonna download when I get this, I'm gonna download Quantum Break, and I'm gonna download the Gears of War 4 assets, and I'm gonna be out of data. Download Quantum Break, and I'm gonna download the Gears of War 4 assets, and I'm gonna be out of data.
Yeah, because
I am so hyped.
yeah, because the thing about this is that because he was like, "What's data caps?" and he goes, "Okay, here in the States, data caps is what the ISP thinks you realistically would need for data. So if they say if they get back from their actual resources to see what people use and do with the said data, they'll placate a data cap saying that like this I guess this neighborhood their data cap logs are up to, let's say the average consumption is about 150. Okay, well then you guys would only need 250, but that doesn't equate to what's the percentage of people who only use 150 gigs.
Yeah,
to say like the people who use like 500 to 600, like the people who use like 500 to 600 gigs because they use they're a lot more interactive with the internet, right, because of their jobs.
It's not fair that they're like. It's not fair that their comparison is, okay, if Armin uses 500 and his mom uses 10 gigs on Facebook a month, that means the average should be 250. It's like, that's not how it works. That's just like, it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, and it's the reason why people hate it is because it's all about competition. If there's not a lot of ISPs in that area, you're not going to get a lot of competition. If there's like say one or two ISP service providers and they can come to a mutual agreement, then whatever the cap is what it is. But if there's like 4 or 5, or it's a lot easier to get the infrastructure up and running, then you'll get like 500 or 1 terabyte 1 terabyte to ever how much. Because like here when I was I think it was when I was in Illinois, the cap was about, I think for us it was about 500. Here back home in California, in Southern California, since there's like I think 4 or 5 ISPs and they have to compete, I have Frontier, which used to be for Verizon Fios. They don't have a data cap, but they can data cap you if you go over an astronomical amount of data that you're just chewing through, which is like 10 terabytes.
I mean, there was a month where like I think it was my old Xbox One where for some reason some glitch happened. I know a lot of people reported on this, and it just had to re-download everything, like every single game you had, and like every asset.
Oh, even if it was a game, suck, dude.
Despite the fact that I had the disc, because it installs it. Well, it had to re-download all that. So my data cap for that month, after it re-downloaded while I was sleeping, like I think something like 29 games. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I know like in the UK they don't have data caps. They have like a realistic amount that everyone can use. But here there's no real regulations unless you have more than one ISP service provider in your area, in which they can regulate each other, because they want your they want your money, they want your service. So they're going to try and do everything to entice that service. Which is why I'm glad that I don't have data caps, because I had data caps for like 2 years, and it sucked because I had to be wary of what I was doing at the time, because I couldn't like be like before doing this podcast, like I couldn't be streaming music while downloading stuff from either Steam or PSN or the Nintendo Network all at the same time, but at lower speeds, but still a realistic speed. Then quantum, I didn't make sure that I don't want to be charged extra because I just went over my allotted amount.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's because, and to come back to it, I've seen people talk to saying others like with the Quantum Break, where Quantum Break is 178 gigs. I think it was like 30 something or close 30 or 40 something gigs because of the TV show. And then their answer to, you don't have to. I'm like, well, technically you have to. It's a part of the story.
Yeah.
The reason why that's the reason why they made a low budget TV show with the game, is because they wanted to tell a story. So if you just for people to understand the story in the game, you need to watch the TV show, whether you like to or not, or whether you want to or not. Unless you don't care about that, and you like the gameplay, then yeah, sure, go ahead. But for most people who probably either wanted to buy an Xbox for the buck, because realistically, for what it is, it's pretty relatively in a good range for people who want to get into 4K gaming right now, but don't want to spend the amount of money it is to build a 4K capable PC rig. And then you tell them to say, oh, well, you don't need to watch the TV show, because if you're complaining about if you're complaining about data caps and your allotted amount of space, then don't get the TV show. And I'm like, but you need the TV show because it's a part of the overall experience. You can't just pick and choose what you don't want and what you do want because it fits your narrative. I mean, for what it is, I'm getting more into PC gaming. I still like my PlayStation. I still like my Switch. I still like a lot of my other systems. But of course, I'm still gonna give them shit because some of the stuff they have is pretty dumb. I'm still gonna give them shit because some of the stuff they have is pretty dumb.
Agreed.
Yeah. Just like I think it was they had a Halloween sale, and I bid on the Halloween sale because I bought Dead Space 1 and 2 for PC for about $10.
Yeah, and it's a good deal.
But yeah, well, it is. But obviously, they left out Dead Space 3 for some reason. That speaks. that speaks because I was actually trying to find it. I know it's Dead Space 1 and 2 for sale, but
so,
I got that.
You got those on PC. I actually I own all of them physically.
No, I do too. It was just that it was just there because I was on Steam. I think
totally.
Night, I just saw it there for $10, so I bought it.
Well, because see, 3 isn't available on Steam, which sucks. But PlayStation, right after Visceral closed, I went on and they had which sucks. But PlayStation, right after Visceral closed, I went on and they had a sale, so I was able to buy all 3 Dead Space on PlayStation digitally with all the DLC for each for about $9 a pop. So I ended up doing that. Like, it gave me like all the DLC weapons and everything, and I was sweet, you know.
Yeah, because like I think it was I think that's when during Dead Space 3, I think that's when they were trying to push Origin. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, cause that's why I was wondering. Cause when I first got on there, I was like, cause I was thinking about getting it. Cause apparently Steam had them both for like $19, 1 and 2 for $19 a piece, and I thought that was a little too much for being those sold games, even though they're that good. And then I was searching for Dead Space 3 and I couldn't find it. And I was looking at them, I was like, oh, that's part of the Origin thing. Okay, never mind.
See, what they should do now that Visceral is closed is put it on, like Steam finally, so they can get some residual sale. Because if it shows up on Steam, I will buy it just to complete the collection. Even if I'm never gonna touch the fucking thing, I will buy it.
And which is, I know we talked about this on another podcast, which is oddly enough because the downfall of Visceral with the Dead Space franchise is because the marketing team sucked ass.
Yep.
60 million for commercials and marketing.
And this ain't your mama's game. Look at her freak out. Ooh, that's so violent, Sonny. I can't believe you playing that game. What the fuck were they thinking? Jesus.
I mean, it got people dying. That's what it did.
Yeah, but not in a positive way. I remember seeing that and being embarrassed. I was reading Dead Space books. I was like, oh, Jesus, no.
But it was funny when you did go see the red tape parts of the actual ads where they were getting freaked out. But then when you went on like YouTube and watched it, they actually started playing the game and they wanted to play more, which is actually pretty funny. And I don't know, because I'm on NBC News. They had a video up on their YouTube page about how games are facilitating the rise of the alt-right, meaning that
damn it,
meaning that anyone who plays video games is a Nazi and they hate every single thing because they apparently associate Trump, Pepe, with the gaming culture and Discord.
Someone went to college to write that shit.
No, an intern or an older person who needed to do a piece on this just did a really, really shallow blanket search in Google and just piece some sentences together with some of the comments they're saying. I cannot believe NBC paid someone to write, saying, I cannot believe NBC paid someone to write this incoherent, massive sentences because they relate to nothing about each other.
Honestly quite amazing. Here's the thing. I bought the new Wolfenstein, and I didn't even like the last Wolfenstein, just so I could kill Nazis. So, you know.
Yes, I don't know. That's what that's what some of the that's what some of the development teams, even some of the development teams said about that. And there's one person who I think who writes the game scenarios. The reason he does that because where he lived over there across the pond, he fucking hated Nazis.
Yeah,
and I mean he hated them, and it's what this is coming about to is just like this type of culture that's saying that this is not about Nazis. This is about being racist against white people. And I'm like, no, this is in an alternate take of reality in history in which the Nazis won. So. Yeah. In essence, this isn't about white people. This isn't about people of culture. It's about you killing Nazis from what they're actually doing is realistically wrong.
God damn it, Tristan. Don't you know there's good people on both sides? Even the Nazis? I've actually seen that as a fucking... Someone actually posted that in an IGN comment.
But
people are like, no, because the president...
You're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Yeah. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm a Nazi, but I'm a good Nazi."
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I don't like these brown and black people, but I like these other brown and black people, so I consider myself kind of good.
Yeah, it's messed up situation to say the least.
This is, and people are saying to what the older generation doesn't understand, so they equate it to something bad. Because this is what this is that they drew the lines to gamers who, or the internet culture. They congregate on forums, threads, like, 4chan or Reddit, or even now Discord, where they, come together and, they give their opinions, whether they're extreme or soft or good or bad. All of them are bad because of some trolls that took the joke took the joke too far, but took it far enough to actually make mainstream media think this is what they're actually doing in whatever forum post or Discord server that they're doing it in.
I can't believe we live in a time where I could happily say I love shooting Nazis a decade ago, and everybody would be like, "Fuck yeah, what game you playing? I want to shoot some Nazis." To now, we live in a time today where if I'm to say that, I might be considered a bad person.
Yes.
Because I want to kill Nazis. Think about what people are getting upset about. Just think about that for a second. What is wrong with you?
Well, it's not just that. It's that a game's franchise that has been about killing Nazis for close to a couple decades now, is now becoming a political move. Saying it's become a political move on that development team to take advantage of what's happening currently. Which it has nothing to relate to that because Wolfenstein has been killing Nazis for decades. They've been doing it before.
Yep.
So they didn't change anything. The only thing they changed was the setting and the time period, depending on what version of like Wolfenstein you're playing at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're doing it from what they've been doing this for a long time. So this has nothing to correlate to they've been doing this for a long time. So this has nothing to correlate to the alt-right or Nazis or anything else. It's just they want to tell an awesome story about you taking back America from Nazis. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, can you imagine if that game, frickin' Homefront, the first one, came out today? They'd be like, well, what's so bad about Korea invading us and killing us? I mean, what's so bad about that?
Well, it's because it's someone unfamiliar or an ethnicity that's unfamiliar to most people, so they don't correlate it as the bad. But then there's like the I don't want to say apologists, but the people who are getting sensitive saying this is not about Nazis. This is about people killing white Caucasian people. I'm like, no. I was like, do you sympathize with the Nazi Party? No. Do you consider yourself a Nazi? No. Do you in any way think that you're a Nazi? No. Do you in any way think that you were a Nazi, or you would want those types of ideals based around you or anyone associated with your family? No, you're not a Nazi, so you shouldn't be offended at all. You should actually be praising that people around the world hate Nazis and never want something like that to happen again.
Yep, it's today's day and age, man.
Yeah, it's it's people picking and choosing what they perceived as their facts, or that's fake facts, or that's fake news, or alternative news, as people talk about it now. Is what they don't want to hear is true, and what they do want to hear is true. This comes like that. It's even for people. This is like the flat earthers, and it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, just type it. Just type in, like, if you ever want to see something funny, just type it. Everyone's. I think we needed to squeeze in a couple extra stuff, but coming towards the end of the podcast, which is what we've been playing for the last, I guess, be the last week or so, or probably be like for the last month or so.
Okay, so let me get it right off the bat. I've been playing The Witcher 3 because obviously.
20th time?
Well, yeah, because they did the PS4 patch, the PS4 Pro, and I was like, well, I'm just going to take it for a quick spin to see how it looks, and I got sucked right back in. But luckily, I put that down to play Assassin's Creed Origins and Mario Odyssey. So I've been juggling those 3 games.
So how is Origins?
So ever since the original came out, the one thing I've requested always, I was like, please be Egypt, please be Egypt, please. They finally did it. I will say that this game takes a lot of inspiration from The Witcher. Like, you could see they looked at it and said, okay, let's try to make it more like that. Now, gone is the day and age where you can have 30 guys following you, dudes on you. There's probably a good chance you're going to die. Oh, okay. The world is huge and massive. It's absolutely beautiful and stunning. But the best part is you still get the insanity of Assassin's Creed glitches. Like, I was running away from... dude, so I had to do this quest, and I'm like, oh, what's that over there? So I took my little boat, and I row all the way over to this one, just a bunch of rocks. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to the top. So there was a sink point there, so I sink it, and I go to dive off. As I'm diving, I see alligators underneath me, and I start panicking like shit. I'm like, I'm going to fucking die. I hit an alligator. My dude glitches out. The alligator somehow starts walking, freaking out on his tail. And it was like a beautiful Assassin's Creed glitch. I wish I had this shit recorded because Assassin's Creed glitches are awesome. And this is probably the least glitchiest Assassin's Creed I've played, but it's funny as hell.
Well, there's some. I remember the last Assassin's Creed I played, which was not Origins. I think it was Unity. Unity was the last one, because after Unity, everyone's like, Syndicate's a little bit better. They fixed it a little bit. And I saw some of it. And I was like, it's not for me. And I was waiting for another one. I was still waiting for what they say on Origins. But back to Unity, is that towards the end of the game, I kind of found one of the glitches that people were talking about during the sequence where you have to kill the guy by doing a running takedown. You're running through all these people and obstacles. Well, what ended up happening was I thought I could cut the corner. I jumped off a house, and what ended up happening was my assassin, he hit the ground, and he clipped to the ground and fell through the level of geometry and died. So you saw my assassin fly through the air. So you saw my assassin fly through the air, hit the ground, roll, and then he clipped through the level geometry, and then he went into the abyss and died. There's even that, and the other one, which was the occasional you get stuck into the ground and you can't get out. Yeah, it gets a couple of those. But for me anyway, there's only one game, and so far it's I don't know what they're doing with it. I did play like Sonic Forces because someone asked me if I was going to get it. I did get it, and it's okay, but it could be a lot. Thank you all for being a Patreon, and just keep listening. So we'll see you next time.
Later, home.